Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Scorpion here, professional gaming coach and former professional competitive esports player. So, I haven't done this like pretty much ever, but I decided to do like why not like do some thoughts on the developer update. Just do this planning to release on the PTB I think tomorrow for April 2021. So, because I do have a lot of experience in the game, so I guess could be refreshing for you guys to hear a more experienced opinion on it. So I'm gonna read it with you guys, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on whatever it is that they're changing. Okay. So killer updates, the nightmare, which is Freddy, for some time has stood out from the crowd with a particular high Q rate. I guess they're referring to average players because if you play Freddy at the high level, he's not really that good. So I guess when they say high Q rates, they're referring to like they're considering pretty bad and average players, like rank 20s, maybe low ranks when they're high ranks, I guess, when they're considering this average. Average roughly 3 kills per match. Okay. With that in mind, we made some changes in Twix to bring him closer in line with the rest of the roster. Okay. So I guess if you guys don't know, they said this like a long time ago. They said for them the balance of this game is when you kill 2 people and 2 people escape. To them, that's what is balance. So essentially, if you go in a match as killer and you kill 4 people, that was essentially an unbalanced match in their view. Okay. So if you guys think that's so hard to 4K sometimes, that's probably wise because they balance the game around you killing only 2 people. Okay, so that's probably why the survivors have so many second chance perkers and whatnot. It's just from actually stopping you from killing 4 people. Because most people consider winning as killing 4 people. So do I. So and this is kind of true for Resistance, for example, which is another 41 game. By if one person escapes, that already counts as a loss to you. So I don't know why they try to enforce this that killing 2 people is balanced. Like, all survivors should be trying to escape, and killers should be trying to kill everyone. I think that's how it should be, but whatever. Just know that the reason why they're saying this, that 3 kills is not balanced, is because they balance the game around 2 kills. Okay. So, okay, moving on. So we decrease his movement speed while placing a snare to 4 meters, which is the same speed as a survivor. So this would be like 100%, and reduce the maximum number of place snares from 8 to 5. Okay, so that's kind of a big drop there. Likewise, the maximum number of drink pallets has been reduced. Okay, so they reduce even that as well, which is already pretty shit. If you don't know, like the pellets are pretty shit. The survivors can tell which are fakes or not, especially if they already used it. It's very counterable. It's way more counterable than the snare, so that's why the snares is better. Not just that, but the snares you can use at any point. The drink pallets you have to set them up, and you have to break them first before you can set up a fake pallet. So that's actually usable. So the snares are obviously way better. If you play Freddy, you would know that. So this is already useless of an add-on to have the Dream Palace, and they made it even more useless because now you have less of it. So this is a nerf to something that was already shit, essentially. Now the snares is a nerf, of course, having less numbers. You cannot preset them around the map as much as you can before. It's kind of like Trapper. It's like Trapper having less traps around the map. So obviously a nerf. Uh, they nerfed something that was good essentially, so you have less traps to put around the map. Now this regarding the speed change, this isn't might be if it works the way I'm imagining, it is a big nerf to him as well because like one of his counters is he places the snares while when the survivor is looping, and then he tries to, as soon as he finishes placing the snares, he backtracks and changes direction to force the survivor into the snare. So if he slowed down, the way that the survivor counters that is by running to the pallet and dropping it immediately. As soon as he sees you placing the snares to do that move, and he runs to the pallet and drop it, that's the way you counter it. So if they're reducing the speed like that, the reason why it's not that easy to do currently is because he does not lose speed when placing the snare, so it allows him to kind of stop him from going to the pallet and dropping it. But because they're reducing the speed, it might just allow the survivor to actually have way more time to reach the pallet and drop it now. Because he slowed down doing all that animation of placing the snare. So this might, if it works the way I'm imagining it, this is a huge nerf, and essentially makes him worse than Clown. Okay, he's gonna be, as far as looping goes, like ending chases around loops. His power is going to be worse than the Clown's bottles. This is what's changing here with this. If it works the way I'm imagining, because of this, because the Clown doesn't lose the speed the same way as he does here. A handful of add-ons have also received changes. Add-ons which previously reduced action speeds now make various actions, which is like his strongest add-ons are the action speed ones. So yeah, they're nerfing the bad stuff essentially, which I understand is boring to play against, But you know, just nerfing like that, I mean, come on. If you wanna make it fun, sure, go ahead and make it fun, but still keep it strong, you know? This right here, I mean, it is making less boring, but it's also making weaker, so it's just a nerf. Like, pretty much a nerf, just straight up nerf. Repairing generators, Guns of Pains. Guns of Pains, I guess, is a a good change, but obviously it's not as bad, not as good as having a slowdown on the gens because they just fly by, especially when you're playing against survivor friends. And Ruin having been nerfed. Footsteps also increased the sound, so whatever. I guess it's just it's a good change, but it's obviously weaker than what it was with the bigger slowdown on the gens. Black Box also has a brand new effect. With the an exit gate is open, it is blocked for sleeping survivors for the next 10 seconds. 10 seconds is pretty shit. Like, come on. It's probably not gonna, it's gonna help you like 1 in a million time. Yeah, like 10 seconds, it's nothing. Like, you might get one kill out of that, like 1 in a million times. So, pretty much, uh, nerf to the ground, I would say. This add-on. Alarm clocks have also received some tweaks to make their effects clearer and more rewarding. Okay, for the survivors, I'm assuming. Using an alarm clock now will make you fully immune to sleep. Okay, this was already present, including sleep caused by a killer hit. So this is a huge nerf to Freddy and a big nerf for the survivors for 30 seconds. So if you don't know, like, I mean, we need to see if this stacks or not because I think this gives you like 1 minute. Will now make you fully immune to sleep. Yeah, it doesn't say here, but I think it makes you immune to sleep for like 1 minute or something like that. Maybe it was 30 seconds, but now on top of that, if he hits you, you cannot go to sleep again. So if you're not asleep, like pretty much none of his powers work on you. So now you essentially have 30 seconds of invincibility against Freddy's power every time you use the clock, which obviously is a huge nerf to Freddy and a big nerf for the survivors. Uh, this effect is now shown on the HUD. Okay, whatever. Uh, with these changes, we hope to promote more strategic use of the drink snares. Well, technically, it is going to be more strategic because you're gonna have to preset them because they're now shit. Because the slowdown, they're kind of shit to be used during the loop itself. So you're probably gonna have to preset them, kind of like Trapper does with his traps. So in that instance, it is a bit more strategic. I agree. Rather than placing them constantly during the chase, exactly what I said, as well as encouraging survivors to seek out and use alarm clocks. Yeah, true. But I mean, I don't think you should have this change as an incentive because this is a big buff. Like it's gonna make chases. Like if he tries to chase you right as soon as you use it, it's gonna be pretty much you're buffing the chases by so much, because he's never going to be asleep, so you can't also use the powers against him. Okay, at least they're acknowledging that they can change stuff, but if they're basing on this, if they're basing the balance around average players, it's just always going to be bad at high level. Essentially, every high level, like red ranks are higher, the killer's gonna get destroyed essentially. If they're balancing around average players, especially when playing survivor friends, the killer is just gonna get destroyed. Our focus for the Demogorgon is to give some Demogorg changes. More mobility with the portals. Okay, this is good. Definitely a buff. We've made the following changes to these portals. Increase speed while in the portal. That's good. Reduce cooldown after exiting the portal. That's also good. Increase undetectable length after exiting the portal. So this is a huge buff overall. Pretty good. Uh, on top of these changes, we have done a complete pass and so they changed a few of the add-ons. Survivors near active portals are indicated by without having to charge the abyss. This is really good. Kind of annoying as well. It makes it way more useful. You can actually use this for kind of tracking, which is really good. It's actually a very good advantage. It kind of works the same way as Vector does for the twins. So you can kind of use the portals to do that, which is very good. It's a very good bonus to Demogorgon that he has on his power. However, the fact that you have to use a rare add-on is kind of weird, like a very rare. This should maybe be you know, a common one or something, maybe a yellow, but definitely I don't think this is worth this rarity. But anyway, pumpkin flesh. I think this is a very good change. I just don't think it's worth the rarity. That's my only complaint here. Uh, pumpkin flesh and okay. When traversing the upside down portal, the portal you enter gets destroyed. Gains an additional 200, which I guess is fine. Like it would be better if you could choose if you want to destroy or not, rather than being automatic. But I guess it's a good because it allows you to, because one thing that's kind of sucks with him is that once you've placed all your portals, you cannot relocate them unless the survivors destroy it. So this kind of gives you a more strategic sense, like options in the sense that you can now control more you know, what happens to your portals and when you have them, when you do not have them. So this is a good strategic change, but I just wish it was not automatic. But overall, pretty good changes, I would say, for Demogorgon. Definitely a buff. He's definitely a better killer now. The Huntress, don't panic. We have changed the Huntress base. We have not changed the base. We have, however, done a pass on her add-ons to bring them up to modern standards. Okay, so they're only showing 2 add-ons here, but it kind of indicates that they changed others. Soldiers. Okay, so the Huntress moves at normal speed when she has no hatchets. This is okay, but I'm not sure if it's worth a red add-on for that. Because I don't know, like she even at normal speed, all killers are pretty much very loopable, so it's kind of incentivizing you to you now drop the chase when you lose all your hatches. Which I mean, I guess it's fine. It's definitely a good add-on to have, but I'm not sure if it's worth a bad rarity for that. That's my only comment, but it's definitely a good add-on. I don't think she even had a second red add-on, so this is a just a buff overall. The fact that she now has this option. But again, I don't think it's gonna help that much because good survivors will still loop you regardless of your speed if they have ballots around, especially considering you don't have hatchets. But overall, you know, pretty good, pretty good. It's also going to give you more mobility towards going to the locker itself and getting the hatchets back. So overall, pretty good. Now, Iridescent Hat inflicts, so it still downs him with one shot. Caps the maximum carry hatches at 1 regardless of effects add-on. So again, it's a fair change because it's pretty stupid to be running 3 one-shot hatchets. But at the same time, it kind of kills the add-on altogether. They pretty much nerfed it to the ground. Like, why would you ever use this anymore? You know, like you only have one. Like if you miss, like if you're playing on console, especially, which is not that easy to hit the survivors. Like, you know, why would you even use this? Like you miss one and then you're essentially kind of out of hatchets. You have to go reload. You drop the chase essentially, so it's pretty dumb. I guess they're intending you to combo these two together. That's why they did this change because they're kind of intending you to combo both. Because then you miss this one, but you can still kind of normally chase them if you want to. But I don't know, man. Like I don't think they should have. I think they should have changed the fact that it downs them with one shot, not the ammo count. I think that would be a better change. This just pretty much nerfs it to the ground. Like I don't feel there's any reason to use this unless you're maybe using this with the like this two add-ons together to then you at least you have this to still have the speed to kind of chase them normally after you miss your shot. But yeah, this is pretty bad add-on now, I would say. Unless you're playing like PC, maybe you can get those one shot, but I don't know. Maybe they could have made it 2 or something. I mean, but again, it's just not so boring to play against this, so I just don't think they should have changed the ammo count. They should have changed the effect of the one shot. That the only thing they should have changed. Uh, like makes her, for example, something that could be interesting as well is making so she did not have to reload with this add-on. That would be a great change to this add-on. You know, like instead of this bullshit, like down one shot or one ammo, just make it so she doesn't have to reload anymore because she has a red add-on. That would be super cool and fun to play as well when using it. So that would be a way better change to one of these two add-ons. Moving on, the twins. Okay, so tweaks increase cooldown after successfully downing a survivor with Victor from 3 to 5 seconds. So essentially, you cannot snowball anymore. It's not that you can't, but if there's 2 survivors close by and you down one of them, you're pretty much gonna get kicked for sure. So it pretty much kills a bit of her snowball potential. So this is definitely a nerf. Snowballing is one of the strongest strategies a killer can use. So this is definitely a nerf to her overall. Camera control is now immediately restored when taking control of Charlotte. This is kind of more like life quality improvement, I guess they call it. This is whatever. It's a good change, but it's kind of whatever. It's not really going to help you win or lose more often. Silencing Cloth, I think this is an add-on. Increase undetectable duration for the 20 seconds upon taking control of Charlotte. This is actually a pretty good, and it's a huge buff, 20 seconds. She's essentially kind of Demogorgon now. When she leaves it goes back to her. The survivors that might be nearby to her won't know that you're actually controlling her. So this is actually pretty good. It's a huge buff to whatever add-on this is. Iridescent Pattern, again, I'm guessing this is an add-on. Increases pulse duration to 20 seconds when a survivor crushes idle view. This is actually pretty good as well. 30 seconds is a pretty big amount of time. So very huge buff to these two add-ons here, whatever they are. And the nerf overall to the slowdown. So essentially they kind of nerfed Victor, but they buffed Charlotte. That's kind of what they did there. Perk updates, small game. But again, like this is based on an add-on, so why, you know, like why buff the add-on? Why not just buff her base kit, you know? But anyway, perk updates, small games. Small games are pretty overall useless perk because you can just use something called Detective's Hunch if you want to find the totems. It's actually, I feel like it's better because you can see them regardless of where you are instead of having to actually walk past it with small game. But I just think it's overall pretty useless perk. It's some players really hate small piles of bones. The aid you at the time. Okay, so if you don't know small game, the way it works is there's like a cone on your screen, and if you point that cone to where a totem is, it's going to kind of give you an indication the perk would activate. So small game now shows the number of remaining totems and tokens of the map. Okay, this is a pretty good change. So now you can see how many totems are in the map or how many have already been destroyed. This is pretty good. I think this should be good. I mean, well, I think yeah, no, it shouldn't be based. I guess it's fine that they included to the perk. I don't think it should be base. Like everyone should know all the time. So I guess this is fine. Definitely a buff to the perk. Because now you're not gonna waste time looking for totems when they're not there because you already know how many are destroyed. The detection range decreases by 5 degrees for each totem cleansed. Okay, so essentially, if I can understand this properly, it's either one of the two. Like either gonna make it easier to find totems the more they are destroyed, or it's gonna make it harder to find the totems when they get destroyed. Because the angle that I set on your screen that activates the perk is gonna either get wider or narrower. I'm guessing it's probably wider, so it's probably a buff if it is that. Just kind of whatever. Like I mean, just use the Texas Hunch. Why would you even bother using this perk? But you know, okay, I guess. Small game no longer detects killer traps. This is good. This is a good change. Cause like, why should you detect traps? They're already so easy to avoid and disarm. Like, why would you even be able to detect them? So this is a good buff to trapper in general and totally an unnecessary nerf I would say for this perk. There's no reason why you should be able to see his traps like that. They're already weak as they are even without knowing they're there. These changes improve small game's ability to track and cleanse totems definitely, while also removing the correct the antiquate part that applies to specific killers of traps. Agree. So good change overall. But you know, just use Detective's Hunch. I don't see why anyone would use this perk. Lucky Break. I'm not sure which perk is this one. Lucky Break now hides scratch marks in addition to blood pools to help you lose the killer. To compensate, the total duration has been reduced to 60, 80, 90 seconds. Okay, so this is actually pretty strong. To help you lose the killer. I guess this is when you get injured, because I heard someone talking about this perk. I'm not sure how it works out of the top of my head, but I think it's like when you get hit by the killer or you're injured, this activates. So essentially, for like 90 seconds, you can have no scratch marks and no bloods of poop. So this is essentially, if you combine this with Iron Will, it's like you're pretty much gonna lose the killer because there's no way he can track you whatsoever if you combine this with Iron Will. So that's pretty stupid. And I will say a pretty actual broken combo if you use these two together. The only question is, can you use this multiple times or not? Because if you can use this Lucky Break, activate this multiple times in the match, then yeah, they pretty much broke the perk. Now if you use this with Iron Will, it's gonna be impossible to chase you. That's killer, pretty much. Especially like on maps like Larry's and shit like that, which you need the tracking to find them. It's gonna be pretty much impossible. The killer gonna lose you every time. While this is active. And if it activates every single time you get hit during the match, like you will like kind of knock it down to it, it's gonna be stupid, like so stupid. It's gonna be broken. So, but if it can only be used once in a match, then I guess it could be fine. Could be more of a meme perk, but it would still be insanely powerful to combo this with Iron Will. Okay, so Soulguard, like they can even just break a pallet and they will lose you because there is no direction whatsoever to where you're going, no sound, no anything. So stupid. Let's see. I have to check, but just my opinion here is that if this can be used multiple times in the game, it's absolutely broken. Everyone's gonna be running this, the high level survivors, and it's gonna break the game for killers. It's gonna literally break the game for killers if they get this effect with Iron Wheel every time they get hit. But if it can only be used one time, then I guess it's fine, whatever. But it's kind of a meme at that point, but it's still pretty strong when actually used. So Soul Guard, it pretty much guarantees that you're gonna lose a chase one time in a match. I would say, kind of like that. Soul Guard, small changes here. Soul Guard now has a cooldown of 30 seconds after activating. Realistically, this won't affect the vast majority of cases. This change is purely to prevent stacking healing speeds and Soul Guard from getting out of hand. Okay, I agree. Whatever. kind of a nerf, but you know, kind of niche type of nerf. Open-handed, take 2 for open-handed. With slotted this update back in for the upcoming PTB. Open-handed now has an increased effect. Okay, up to 16 meters, but no longer stacks with itself. This makes the perk more appealing on its own without needing to stack it with other survivors in the match. Okay, interesting. So I think the default was 8, so they increased that to 16, which pretty much doubles it. Okay, pretty interesting. So I guess it's definitely a good buff because now not as many people need to be using it. So I guess okay, whatever. I feel like it's more like a life quality update because nobody even uses this, so they're just buffing perks that don't get used. Very straightforward change. Senjin Tactics now is now permanently active and also has a larger range. Okay, good buff, but again, useless perks. No one really uses this. Maybe for a beginner is a good thing. Borrow time, meta perk. Let's see what they did here. To remove some confusing intricacies with how borrow time interacts with some killers and the oblivious status effect, we have removed the terror radius condition from the perk. Okay, this is bad. To compensate, we have reduced the duration of the endurance effect to 12 seconds. That's not a decrease. You pretty much take 3 seconds away. That's nothing. Come on. If it was 8 seconds, that could be called a decrease. But 12 seconds, 3 seconds difference is not a decrease. Come on. Shut up about it. So yeah, this is a huge buff to the perk. Huge buff. Huge fucking buff. So again, they're buffing the meta for the survivors, which is stupid. It's already impossible to beat the meta. Like if they combine borrow time, unbreakable DS, and all, now they're even buffing borrow time even more. Now the reason why I say that's a buff is because the fact that you could use the oblivious status effect is a counterplay to this perk. Is using like Ray for example, he can just go cloaked and you cannot use borrow time against it. It's a counter. There should be counters to things that are super strong. That's what makes the balance. It's the fact they can counter it. So now not even those killers can counter anymore. It's like it's kind of like DS. It's just stupid. Like every time you get off the hook, you're invincible. Essentially, that's what this perk does. It was kind of balanced in the sense that you could counter it before, but now it's not balanced at all in the sense that you're guaranteed to be invincible every time you leave the hook now, regardless of what killer it is, which is it's again stupid. It's just break, but it's just stupid design for in terms of balance. You're just giving the survivor invincibility. Why would you do that? Like my personal opinion, this is stupid. That should definitely be a counter to it. And if they want to have that perk in the game, they might as well reduce it to like 5 seconds or something. Just something that the killer cannot like immediately hit you right after the hook. That's it. Like 10 seconds is already way too much because with 10 seconds, I think 8 seconds is already a lot to be quite honest. Because the survivor can easily get to a pallet or something, and then he's gonna loop you for another like 1 minute if you try to tunnel him. Not to mention they can combine that with DS and all that shit. So like if you go for a tunnel, it's pretty much you're never gonna down the survivor anymore. Like you cannot slug him because obviously it's better if he slug than if he just run. He gets unhook and run off and go do gens. You don't want that as a killer. So and they're essentially making sure that will happen because now he's invincible for guaranteed for 12 seconds no matter what. So this is essentially gonna be used the same way as DS is used now. They're just gonna laugh at your face while the effect is active because they know they cannot get down. I appreciate the reduction of the time because, like I said, that's the main problem is how long it lasts. But 12 seconds is still way too much. Like it needs to be like maybe 5 seconds. 5 seconds, yeah, around there. Because like even if it's 8, 10 seconds, that's already like he pretty much crossed the entire map with that time. Like it's way too much. He can easily find a pallet, and I don't think he should because the survivor that unhooks him, he can already body block for him if he wants to stop him from being tunneled, like which is a more strategic play. Like you don't need a perk to do that for you. So yeah, I think this is a bad change. They essentially buffing the meta for survivors. It's a nerf to all killers essentially. This is a buff to this perk, but it's essentially a nerf to all killers because that's the meta of the game. So everyone's gonna be every survivor, every match that happens now after this is going to be buffed in the survivor favor because of this. Object of obsession. The PTB also features the newly. Now I'm saying like because tunneling is a very good strategy for killers, especially on that first kill. But now I can just hear like the survivor mains complaining, "Oh, what do you mean? Are you incentivizing tunneling?" No, because like for a tunnel to happen, you actually have to be the survivor is the one that allows the tunnel. It's not the killer that's kind of the bad person, in my opinion, because the killer can only tunnel if you save in front of him, you know? So it's kind of your choice to allow the tunnel to happen when you go for the save. If you're stupid and like you can clearly tell that you're inside the tear radius and you go for the hook anyway, you're just putting your teammates to the tunnel possibility. Like you're choosing that. You just have to be smart about it. I don't think the perk should do the job for you. I think the survivor should have to be smart about it and know when to save and not to save. And if they save at the wrong time, I think they should get punished for that with the tunnel or something like that. You know. But again, like I understand, like if my teammates are stupid, do I get punished for them saving me at the wrong time? I need to have a perk to counter that. That's a fine argument. Just reduce the time, I would say. I don't think it should be 12 seconds. It's way too much. And the fact that now there's no counter to it whatsoever, just like DS, like there's no counter to it. It always activates regardless of what the killer does. They essentially remove the counterplay from the perk, which is it puts the perk on broken status level. Because for me, let me define where broken is to me. Broken is when it meets three criterias, is something that has a high impact on the match results, something that takes no skill to use, and something that has no counterplay. When something has those three effects together, it makes it broken. Okay, it breaks the balance of the game. So they just essentially elevated borrow time to that level because now 12 seconds of invulnerability, that's a lot. Like he can easily like start an entire new chase with you without going down because of it. And you know how chases last a long time. So and the gens go way too fast. You do not have that time, especially with the M1 killer to chase the survivor for like 1 minute or something if you try to tunnel him. So that shouldn't be a thing. Um. So and now there's also no skill to use, of course, because you just pull the hook and the thing activates. There's no skill. It's not like blinking with the nurse. There's no skill involving using this perk. So high level of impact because essentially you can loop the killer for you're essentially loop the killer for one instead of going down and being slugged and allowing the killer to pressure the survivors. Now you're allowed to chase him for another mid if you want because you have one. You have 12 seconds of invulnerability. So obviously that has a huge impact on the match. There's a bigger impact if you're up and doing gens than if you're down on the floor being slugged. So, huge impact, no skill to use, and now there's no counterplay because not even a killer with the stealth can counter borrow time. So with the tear radius, so they just essentially elevated the perk to broken status level. So now Unbreakable, BT, and DS are going to be the broken perks of the game currently because Unbreakable is the same thing, no skill to use, high impact. You can literally revert, and like if everyone goes down and you have Unbreakable, you get back up and you revert the entire game. The killer has to 4K again just because you have a perk. So high impact, no skill to use, no counterplay whatsoever to on the killer part, no counterplay whatsoever to Unbreakable. And DS is the same thing. Like you get off the hook, uh, same thing, like high impact, the killer cannot tunnel you and get you off the game quickly for a full minute, which is more than enough to get like gens done. Like you can go on lockers as well, so there's no counterplay whatsoever. He can barely even slug you. Not to mention you can combo the ass with Unbreakable, so then even if he does manage to slug you, you can still get up with no penalty whatsoever. And again, no skill to use. You just have to press the button and you escape for free, or you get inside a locker. It's stupid. So borrow time has been now elevated to broken level, along with Unbreakable and DS. Object of obsession. So let me go. Move on, right? So anytime your aura is revealed to the killer, their aura is revealed to you and gain 6% bonus to healing, repairing, and cleansing speed. If you're the obsession, your aura is revealed to the killer for 3 seconds every 30 seconds. Wait, so their aura is revealed to you. Okay, so you both see each other. Anytime your aura is revealed to the killer, their aura is revealed to you. So you both see each other. And when that happens, you gain a 6% bonus to speeds. For 3 seconds every 30 seconds. Okay, so every 30 seconds, you have 3 seconds of 6 bonus speed. That's really the effect of the perk now. I think it's kind of useless. I mean, I would just use it for the random speed, but it's not as useful as it is currently, where you can see him all the time. So I would definitely take that off my build now with these changes. You might as well use alert, or something like that if you wanted to really see the killer now and then, every time he kicks something. Um, being able to track. So the new version has a few benefits: being able to track the killer, being able to deduce which aura reading perks the killer is using. What do you mean? I don't understand this. Being able to attract the killer and then sneak away before they can get there. Yes, yes, that's exactly why the current object of the session is so good because you can pretty much do all this. But the difference is that you can do that all the time during the match. Now you can only do that every 30 seconds, and so it's pretty random. So obviously, it's better when you have control than when it's random. So it's just an overall nerf, I would say. More fun and interactive perk for both sides. Well, definitely more fun and interactable, but it's just not useful anymore. You know, you might as well use something else here. No, so definitely more fun and interactable, but just not as useful anymore. Miscellaneous balance toolboxes. The chance to receive a skill check while using a toolbox has been increased. Chance to receive a skill check. This change makes toolbox feel more interactive while they're in use, and it's totally not because okay, whatever. The lead game designer had a skill check challenge. It feels like they did this so that just so they could mention the developer case, but whatever. Okay, so now you get more skill checks when using toolbox, so I guess more blood points. Whatever, kind of a random change. Hatchets. Another small tweak. We have decreased the time the hatchet remains open. The hatch remains open after a key is used from 30 seconds to 10 seconds. Okay, so this is a big nerf to keys. Uh, but again, like whatever, like they can still open it in your face and leave. So what's the point? Like before, if the hatch closed naturally, the endgame collapse will not start. Okay. Please note that this is not the final change keys we'll be receiving. Good. We'll share more info in the future. Okay. Because, yeah, the problem is that there's essentially no animation. They can just open instantly and get away. If there was at least an animation, they have to go through to open the hatch, then the killer could stop it, you know? But the fact that there's no animation is just stupid. They need something that they need to change as well. I hope they do that in the future. Like, there has to be more requirements to using the key. Because, like, one person dies, and if there's only one gen left, that's already all the three other people can leave from the hatch. It's just stupid. Like the killer loses 3 kills because of one item. You know, just way too strong. They need to nerf that the same way they did to Maurice. They need to nerf to that level. The keys. HUD updates for the 4.7.0 PTB. We have made some more changes to the HUD. This time focusing on the visibility of killer powers on the survivor portraits. In this update, we have improved to the Dr. Manus effect, Nightmares Dream World effect, Sleep Timer, the Plague Infection meter, Stock meter. So okay, so they essentially just made it so it's easier to see in the HUD. The effects of the powers. Okay, that's good, I guess. Quality of life improvements. Additionally, we've also adjusted the survivor portraits so they no longer obstruct the bottom of power indicators. Okay, so yeah, just quality of life. That's good. Struggle update. I heard about this before, so now I don't have to read this. But now essentially you're gonna have to press skill checks instead of spamming the buttons. That's an insane good change. Should have happened a long time ago, but hey, finally here. Now this is good because obviously mashing is like so annoying. Like for the first time, I guess I understand why developers do that because they want you to have the feel that you're kind of fighting for your life. But you know, after you do that the first, the second, the third time, it just get boring, it gets annoying. The fact that you have to mash it and it hurts your fingers. You know, especially if it's something you have to do constantly, it's just boring as shit. Like so, this is a very good change. And now it's kind of a nerf as well if people try to suicide on the hooks. So I guess that's good. Essentially, now it's going to work the same way as the cages from Pyramid Head. So graphical updates, Cold and Farm. It looks like they pretty much just made it so it's daylight now. I don't see too many changes. We have to see how they make the loops now. Just like the game, they changed the game, and now it's even safer than it was before. So we just gotta have to notice how the palettes are gonna work in the loops. But as far as visuals, I think it's fine. You know, whatever, it's better. But I care more about the loops. On that note, we've reached the end of the developer update. Okay, so they will be available for PTB, which I guess April, yeah, April, so pretty much tomorrow. Uh, we look forward to reading your feedback. Okay, so yeah, guys, that's my thoughts. I think the only good thing here in terms of buffs for killer was the fact that they nerfed objects. That's a big buff to killer, and they buffed Demogorgon. Demogorgon just got buff overall, so that was really good. I think now Freddy is probably, in terms of like actual doing the chase itself, he's worse than Clown with those changes. However, he still has the ability to preset the traps, which Clown doesn't. So it's kind of, I guess, he's just more strategic, I would say. But in terms of actual doing the chase, he's worse than Clown now. Um, they buffed a lot of things about the sleeping as well with the clocks there as well. So overall nerf to Freddy in general. The twins got a bit of a nerf, like as far as Victor, which is the strongest weapon, but they kind of buffed Charlotte in terms of add-ons, which is kind of weird. Like, why not buff the base kit? They buff add-ons, it seems. So yeah, if that was the case, I might be wrong, but if it was a buff to add-ons, then those add-ons are super good now and very worth using if you want to use those now. As far as the perks for Survivor, very good buffs overall here. Sorry, changes. Just more like quality of life. It just seemed a lot of good quality of life changes. Like, everything here is just the HUD, the toolboxes, everything, just quality of life. Very good changes. Lucky break. I think this might become a problem depending if it can be used multiple times in the match. This will be a problem. Okay, I'm telling you right now, this will be a problem if it can be activated multiple times during the game. People are just gonna combo that with Iron Will, and it's just gonna be unplayable for killer for the most part. Any killer whatsoever. So it's just gonna be bad for anyone. Spirit, just forget it. Like Spirit, you're never gonna use your power again when people have this on. Huntress, pretty boring, I would say. Like, no, they just essentially changed the iridescent hat, which they should have done a long time ago, but they didn't change it in a good way. That's what I would say. I think it would be way more fun if they made it so you did not have to reload the hatchets when using this. You could just throw them like infinitely. That would be a better change, I would say, than having this. And definitely a change that would be worth a red quality here. I think they can keep this add-on if you want to. The movement speed, I think that's fine. But just I would change this to Sheikah doesn't have to reload. That would be a way better change, I would say. They could do the same thing for Trickster or something as well. That would be cool. That would be cool. And yeah, guys, that's my thoughts. And let me know what you guys think on the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more of these, if you want to hear my thoughts on other subjects of the game, feel free to comment that below as well. I always reply to you guys. If you need help with coaching, whatsoever, you're struggling with the game, you want to improve, you want to save yourself 7 years worth of experience in just a couple of hours, feel free to check below on the description how to get my coach. I'll be there as well. And you can sub to the channel as well to get more videos on me. Get notified when I upload more videos. My Discord link as well will be in the description if you want to join the community there. Maybe meet more people, make teams and whatnot. The link for that will be as well as my guides and courses that I'm making. Currently, I only have the nurse, and I'm working on the survivor one, but the nurse is already available. So if you want to see that, it's going to be in the description. The free guide for a video that I made, and as also if you want to acquire the course as well, it will all be there. Okay, guys. So that's the video. See you guys in the next one. And take care.